Welcome to KDOL Community Spotlight, special on African American achievement. This year, the district has shined a light on improving African American male achievement as part of an initiative to help close the achievement gap. Many ask why African American male achievement? Why now? Why? Because the numbers are startling. Between 2003 and 2009, the average reading scale score for African American males was lower than the average white male by at least 28 points in grade 4 and 29 points by grade 8. In 2009, 50% of 8th grade African American males performed below basic level in both reading and math. So why now? Now because we still have hope, and it's time for us to take a stand and take back our community. For this issue is not just an African American issue, it is a national issue. It impacts our public safety, economic growth, and community at large. This issue is so large that our Congresswoman Barbara Lee spearheaded the funding of a national grant providing additional support to local communities to help save our babies. The program is the National Cares Mentoring Movement, led by Susan Taylor, former Essence magazine editor-in-chief. Between this movement and what Oakland Unified is doing to help improve the African American male achievement, we should see some reduction in the achievement gap in the near future. With the launch of the National Cares Mentoring Movement held in Oakland, California, KDOL Spotlight went on location to see this event, and I had the honor of interviewing Academy Award-winning actor Louis Gossett Jr., Dr. Michael Eric Dyson, and Susan Taylor to discuss how their program can work in concert with the work Chris Chapman, OUSD Executive Director of African American Male Achievement Initiative, is doing right here in Oakland Unified School District. Why you chose Oakland, and how is this program actually going to help to close the achievement gap?
We chose Oakland because Oakland is a cultural leader. This is a pilot. It's a pilot that is as huge a dream, I think, as those who created Essence dreamt. We're dreaming that with this protocol, with this training, with rooting these principles and practices in our communities, and not in everyone, but in those who say, send me. I really want to make a difference in the lives of children. And I am willing to be a mentor, and I'm also willing to be in the vanguard in recruiting others to get engaged in recovering our children and helping them to advance.
Dr. Love, you were here in the 70s when the school district was probably at one of the best. Now, over the years, with all the challenges that are happening in Oakland and in public safety and the issues, there's an African American achievement gap that everybody is talking about. How are programs like this and the African American Male Initiative going to actually help close that achievement gap?
Well, I hope they are going to help the students to develop some self-esteem, because that's one of the problems. They feel they can't do it, or they feel that to be studious, to study, is acting white. We got to get rid of that myth. You know, it really feeds into what people perceive that black kids are smart, and they are. So I think we've got to change their whole paradigm.
With me is Dr. Michael Eric Dyson, who is a world-renowned author, a radio host, or what aren't you doing?
Well, I'm just trying to be you when I grow up.
An intellect in our community. I'm one of your biggest fans. I know I'm the biggest on the West Coast.
Appreciate you.
So we wanted to find out, we're with the school district, Oakland Public Schools. They started an African American Male Achievement Initiative.
Right.
That's actually working to, part of the initiative is to help the incarceration rate of our youth, as well as dealing with the achievement gap and closing the achievement gap. So what do you feel that the most challenging area that we have to actually close the achievement gap in our community?
Well, I think we need resources. Obviously, if we don't have equal resources for children who are going to schools in inner cities, you have twice the amount of money given per capita, per student, to those in the suburbs and who are more more able to engage in sustained education, who are able to have their particular preparation strengthened as a result of the money that they're given and the teachers that they are, in one sense, exposed to. Stop trying to calculate jail cell space in the 4th grade by predicting what those students are going to do later on, and help them not go to prison, so that the pipeline from schools to prisons has to be stopped. And then thirdly, I think that we certainly do need to strengthen our own parenting when it comes to our kids. But a lot of people are working 2 and 3 jobs, so it's hard for them to do the best they can do. We have to step in as a community to make sure that those young people are being taken care of. And then fourthly, obviously, we need school reform. And when we have school reform, we have the ability of not only local communities to have a say-so over the institutions which govern their lives, which happen to be schools, but also the input into those situations, those schools, that allows those parents to have a greater say-so and therefore take greater responsibility.
I'm here with Academy Award winner Louis Gossett Jr., who is actually a philanthropist and an activist, actually raising money and outreach into the community on the African American Acheivement and helping to close the achievement gap with his program Acheivement Foundation. So can you tell us, Mr. Gossett, how your program Acheivement Foundation is actually working to help close the achievement gap in the African American community?
It's very similar to what's happening here, and there's a lot of very well-intentioned, successful foundations helping our children. There's the EXO program and the NAACP, 500 Black Men, they're part of this and other organizations. There's so much stuff, but I seem to remember that element, the preparation of a child before they went out the house. And that thing seems to be systematically broken down. And the things that you could not go out the door before you were dressed properly. You had some knowledge of yourself, some knowledge of your elders in history, some respect for the opposite sex, and respect for your elders, your physical fitness, your hygiene, your dress code, your behavior patterns. You had to be a lady and gentleman before you went out the door. And somewhere it was systematically broken down. So whatever we learn as young people, or whatever they learn as young people, especially the exceptional ones, without that, their success is made of clay. So whether they're famous or not famous, if they have that foundation, they will be here for generations. What they think is right, and then the program is to get these kids to learn those basics, enable them to get what they learn to get better, easier to do, and they stay there. The magic word is longevity, from one generation to another. But you know the stories of those brilliant young men and women who have fallen from grace without that foundation. But you also know the stories of the brilliant young men and women who had that foundation, who are still here after all these years.
The reason why we do this is because we learn so much every time. And if we just shift our mind and our sense of possibility, that we could be the ones that learn from our interactions with young people.
So why now? Now because we still have hope, and it's time for us to take a stand and take back our community.
I hear people say that this is a free country. The U.S. Constitution and the Bill of Rights has guaranteed the American people certain freedoms. Freedoms are a lot like privileges. If you abuse them, you just might lose them.